What's up, everybody? Little open sober Mike with a big smile. I'm currently smiling at the gray hair in my beard because for some reason it's more evident today. And I think that is because I got rained on. Went for a little walk, and it's interesting speaking about addiction a lot and routine a lot and things like that because I was so antsy today. It was like 1 o'clock. I hadn't been on my walk yet, and I usually intermittent fast in the mornings, and then I go for a walk right before lunch. And I felt antsy, and so I do my suit walk, I throw on a nice suit, get ready to go, right? And then it starts to rain, and I check it out. I'm like, oh, the forecast changed on me. So I came back, threw on the rain gear, which it turns out is not rain gear at all. I went for a walk, and it poured. And so I made a short walk, came back, and I decided to record this video, And the rain reminds me of a song by Natasha Bedingfield, Unwritten, right? Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can feel it for you. Only you can let it in. No one else, right? And that idea of no one else can feel it for you, only you can let it in, ties to just so many things around recovery, around the book Psycho-Cybernetics, around the trauma recovery of reading about this guy Gabor Mate, and about just becoming the real you. And so I know we're 2 minutes in, smoking as always. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, I am going to cut back on my cigar smoking because I recognize that there's a pattern of behavior there that maybe isn't serving me as much as it could. It's also a lot of fun at times, right? But I want to talk about being the real you, right? Feel the rain on your skin. No one else can do it for you. Only you can let it in, right? Because when this whole journey started, where I was going to start sharing about my story, right? And I'm going to start sharing about rehab. I got a funny hair here. Sharing about rehab and the things that I've went through, I had this inkling that I was going to find my life partner or find my wife through this process. So about a week into it, I was like, hey, I'm gonna find my partner, And honestly, I've had a lot of great connections with people over the last few weeks. People just keep showing up in my life, feeling my energy and often giving off their own positive energy and such. And I was talking to my friend Maria, and my friend Maria, she was like, Michael, you're finding yourself in this journey, right? And I had that inkling oh wait, yeah, I'm not gonna find the person I'm gonna date by sharing my vulnerability. I'm gonna find me, which will then go me, uncovering me, becoming the true and real me, which will attract people into my life. But the truth is, I'll just attract myself to myself, uncover myself, and people will be drawn to that. And it's absolutely happening. And it's absolutely beautiful. And I know I've got this perma smile on, but the more I talk about it and the more I do these videos, I see myself changing. I'm changing live because I'm verbally releasing a lot of the trauma that I went through, even though I was recovered or not recovered, in recovery, or I've been in rehab and I've gone 6 years without gambling, drugs, alcohol, none of it, right? It's been a very long time. Releasing my story through social media, through this means, it's changed me because now I'll be smoking a cigar with a group of people and I'll talk about some of the things I've gone through, or I'll challenge them in conversation about ideas they have about themselves. And it's kind of like a constantly rewarding upward spiral. And it's really just me getting back to who I used to be. When I was a young kid, I was always in conversation. When we were young, we used to go to this retreat house. It was called a Fat House up by Stony Plain, Alberta. And when we were out there, I would always be visiting with people older than me. right? Like I was 8 years old, 10 years old, and it's like my inner Michael, little Walshy, my inner Michael was connecting with their inner person, and maybe I was like an old soul at that point or something. There's that old expression, and that's who I am, right? Like I'm the guy who, walking down the street, I see a 3-year-old with pink shoes on, and I'm like, those are great shoes, and I interact with that 3-year-old. Or I see a senior with, you know, a cool outfit on, and I say, like, nice outfit, like great loafers, great whatever. And I have been inhibited for a while. I've gone through cycles, right? There's some positive moments in my story, like 2014, 2016 when I went to Vancouver. You know, there's some upward trends. But right now I feel like I'm in neither an upward or a downward trend. I'm just me. And so this maybe sounds a little egotistical to you if you're listening. But I hope you can think it through a bit and understand, or at least be open to considering, that the true you is a little more disinhibited, right? It's a little more free. You're not considering all the consequences as much as you do now. You know, because the consequences of your actions, and again, we're talking about rehab, recovery, sobriety, right? Like there's been some very significant actions in my life where I have taken chances that I could have died or I could have hurt other people. So by no means is that what I mean by take some chances. But there's moments in your daily life where you're just inhibited. You know, you're at work, you're in the mall, you see something good happens. Somebody plays a guitar on White Ave, and you walk by instead of saying like, wow, this is great. Like, what's your name? Hey, John, great, cool. Like, you have this, what's this song called? You know, and this is from Psycho-Cybernetics, one of my favorite new books. So this journey of talking about sobriety and talking about trauma has like it's like what am I trying to say? A layer of skin is being released, and I'm more me than I remember being in a very long time. You know, and that's kind of like gets back to the idea of trusting yourself, right? Do you trust yourself? And I mean, sometimes it's not the right question, because what do you mean by trust? You know, what do you mean by trust, right? Like, you can go deeper into that. But if you aren't your real self, or if you're hiding your real self from yourself and from people around you, no wonder you don't trust yourself. You know, it's not really about blame, it's about optimization and like transcendence of your being and who you are. Without consequence, without apology. You know? And the right people will come into your life. They just will. When you're truly yourself, that's where you build your group, your community. You know, and not everyone will, you know, I'm in different groups now and then, and I'll be my real self, and it doesn't get the same reaction as other groups where people really want to go deep and they want to like escalate and continue to dive further and further and further and further in. And so this is where I think everyone could, if you're still with me in this video, by the way, great, good for you, you're a champion, because I haven't talked as much about sobriety, and as always, I barely have a topic. But what I'm really saying is that the journey of sharing your trauma, regardless of what it is, it doesn't have to be the, you know, like me, I mean, I did all this hardcore gambling years ago, and I really hurt my life multiple times through drinking and through drugs and through, you know, it doesn't have to be that for you. It can be as simple as the trauma of when you were 6 years old, you looked to your parents to meet your needs and they didn't, and you've been holding back your personality to protect yourself ever since. And really, your true personality is just waiting to be released, right? Waiting to be let out. And so thanks for listening to all these videos. That's my thought today. I'm just like that Unwritten song by Natasha Bedingfield. Another song is by Gavin DeGraw, right? Like, I don't want to be anybody other than who I've been trying to be lately, right? Like that song, I've heard that song since like Kamloops 2009, Zach Panette. We used to bang that song, and man, you know, that idea of be yourself because everyone else is taken, it's an okay idea, but it's not enough. It doesn't go deep enough, right? Because it's like, be yourself because you're amazing, right? Be yourself, because what if who you truly are can accomplish things you've never dreamed of before? My friend John gave me this expression, John and Maria, that when you're visualizing your future or your goals or what you hope that will happen from your life, and maybe it's for some people it's like a marriage and having some kids. Let's keep it simple, right? For some people it's like retreats on islands and coaching and everything, right? But when you visualize it, be careful not to stay stuck even in your best dreams. And so the expression to prevent you from being stuck is when you're sitting there and you're thinking about what the future could look like, you say to yourself, well, this or something better, right? This or something better. And so let's take that back to young Michael, 11 or 12 years old. It's like, hey, I want to be a priest, Mom, but I want to do something big. And then I end up in the seminary, and then I get rejected. And that was a really important this or something better moment. And as I've said before, I would not change a single thing about my entire rehab journey, my entire struggle through addiction. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't wish it on someone else. But for me, it's made me who I am, and it's helped me recover. Because that's it. Like, how do you recover? How do you heal? How do you come back to who you were originally? And that's what it's helped me do. And so the this or something better moment was when I got rejected from the seminary, because it's like, well, something better. And I'm figuring out what that something better is now, but it's clearer than it's ever been in my entire life. And I'll share something personal. So over the weekend, I actually met a new person. We connected like extremely well, met up a couple times, and they shared like all this amazing insight about just life and stuff, and it was great, right? And then by the end of the weekend, I realized, Mike, like you're having these interactions with people because you're truly yourself. So like other people are feeling that, and then I'm feeling it from them, and then I'm figuring out who I want to be around. And then I had the conversation with my friend Maria about finding yourself through releasing all this trauma in this story. And I realized like my calling is to meet myself vulnerably, truly, and essentially and fully, like who I really, really am. And then to help other people do the same. And so that connects to sobriety, but that's bigger, it's deeper, right? Like to really uncover who am I fully, uninhibited, purely connecting, going for it, and then helping other people do the same. So, takeaway. Where are you stifled in your life? By people or by, not even necessarily like people you love aren't people you choose always. And sometimes they aren't going to connect the same way you are. But where have you been prevented from just, we have this expression like sharing my truth. And sometimes we take that as like there's only one truth. We can't have multiple truths. So let's go with sharing your essence. Where in your life are you not showing up, sharing your essence? And how much freer and how much more upright would you walk if you change that? All right, Sober Open Mic. Let me know if you have any topics or if you want to link up. And go on a journey to find yourself. Cheers.